Hello there. Hi, everybody. Mariners win 5-0. They improved to 82 and 69 on the year, 82 and 68 on the year. I'm so sorry, taking a loss away. Just wanted to say the cool number, I guess. 82 and 68 on the season. They take the first of the 3-game series against the Oakland Athletics. Let's go over the scoring plays. JP Crawford, my son, I'm so proud of my son, singles home Stan Haggerty to make it 1-0. Fourth inning, Jose Caballero hits a 437-foot home run. Yes, that actually happened. Jose Caballero hit a 437-foot homer. Best part was, on top of that, Dylan Moore was on base. 3-0. Luis Torrens doubles home Jose Caballero to make it 4-0. And in the ninth, they add on Eugenio Suarez singles home JP Crawford. 5-0. Mariners get a much, much, much needed victory. Before we go into the positives and the negatives, we do want to thank the good people of Simply Seattle for sponsoring the show. They have so much great stuff, folks, whether you're a fan of the Mariners, the Seahawks, the Huskies, the Kraken, the Storm, the Sounders, the Huskies, the Cougars, everybody. They've got it all, whether you're looking for hats, shirts, hoodies, jackets, all sorts of great stuff. The original stuff is so good. I love the Griffey Logo Man shirt. I wear it all the time. I love the Big Dumper shirt. I wear it all the time. I love the Big Penix Energy. I wear that all the time. And my grandma does not love it, but it's mostly because she's not a big Husky fan, more than the fact that it is a naughty little phrase. But I love it so much. And use code MOLLYWOP15 and you save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP 15, all one word, 15% off your order. And it really helps the show, and it really helps us with Mollywop Monday too. It just shows that you're listening. If you use that code, it really, really helps. I'd really appreciate it. And we really appreciate Simply Seattle for giving us a little bit of sponsor stuff. Thanks for joining me for another live one. We're going to try to go live after every single game for the remainder of the year, and that includes the postseason. And hopefully we are playing postseason baseball. Appreciate everyone coming out. Gosh, they needed that. Gosh, they needed that. And boy, oh boy, Cedric Mullins, I wasn't a huge fan of you not too long ago. I love you right now. I love you right now. What a huge home run that is. What a massive helper that is. The Mariners have to be within a game and a half or two for that series. They have to. They have to. And today really helped. They get the win. The good old Baltimore Orioles get a win because of Cedric Mullins. And look, we all remember what Cedric Mullins did to us not that long ago. We remember. Pretty big helper today. That is beautiful. And thank you to the Boston Red Sox. And thank you to the Texas Rangers, whose bullpen is just imploding. They are now 3 for their last 16 in save chances, folks. 3 for their last 6. I'm going to go ahead and take a look and go through some questions and see if I see anything. Obviously, everything here is worth mentioning because I appreciate your support so much. But I'd really appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button, guy. Please, please, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps so much. It helps with the algorithm. It helps show that YouTube that people care about this show. It's just a real quick little click. Just a little hey, how's it going? Really appreciate it. It helps an awful lot. Let's just see here. Again, I'm very proud of my son. I'm very proud of my son. Hey, yeah, Matthew, winning season guaranteed. Wasn't all that guaranteed half a season ago. That's nice to have. The win does gain on everybody. Huge for the Astros not to win. Huge for the Rangers not to win. Oh, and exactly, Libra. Just to get that win when you played, I actually think they played well against the Dodgers for 2 of those 3 games. The third game was garbage. There's no way around it. It was hot garbage. It is hot garbage. And here's the thing before we get into some positives and negatives. Can you imagine where this team is right now if not for the way they've played against Oakland? Now, look, Oakland's terrible. Terrible. I think they're 46 and 105 now. It might be 104. It's not good. 46 and 104. That's diabolically bad. But winning 11 out of 12 games, which I think is what the Mariners have done, phone, you be quiet. You just be quiet. Do not disturb turned on. To do that is remarkable. Where are they without those wins? What they have done against Oakland, there's still 2 more games. They got to win both of these, I think. At least one of them, but I think they will win both of them. In Kansas City and Colorado, that 3-game sweep against that crap shack, winning 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 against Kansas City. Like, I think there's something like 19-2 against those 3 teams. That's huge. They're right around a 500 team against not those teams. Yeah, it's nice to do one of these live recaps after a win, Matthew. You're 100% right. Yeah, we can recap Danny Halfdollar and his comeback win, Dennis. Thanks for coming out. I did joke on Twitter that Danny Dimes has to be downgraded to Danny Chuck E. Cheese coupon or token, excuse me, because he's just looked awful. If the Mariners do not make it, should Scott be on the hot seat? Of course he should. On the hot seat. That doesn't mean you have to fire him, but you have to put him on Coles. You know, I don't want to hurt him. Don't literally do it. But yeah, he's on the hot seat. All right, let's get into some positives and some negatives. Is there anything negative? Here's the thing. So Julio goes 0 for 4. Does draw a walk, and he does have a line drive get caught. I have to be honest with you. I was rooting for Julio Rodriguez to go hitless in this game. And I'll tell you why. I'm a big believer in regression to the mean and ascension to the mean. So to win a game 5-0 where Julio does nothing, I'll take that. Heck yeah, I'll take that. I think it's actually a positive. Now, sure, I'd love him to get going again. He's had a couple of not great results over the last couple of games. But the fact you win this one with Julio going 0 for 4 and the one line drive he hits is caught, I'll take it. Ty France was awful tonight. I don't like having to talk about negative stuff when you have this big win, right? Holy crap. He missed some balls that he should have driven a long, long way. Those balls should have landed where Oakland is moving. Like, just down the middle stuff. And Ty France just isn't on it right now. And I looked it up. He's actually had a couple of hit games, like 3 of 4 or something like that. But the eye test and the overall numbers just tell you. And a lot of people will point to like expected weighted on base average and stuff like that. Okay. It's great that he gets on it a pretty nice run. It's great that he's not afraid to get hit by pitches. But expected weighted on base average, I think, can be a pretty flawed stat sometimes. And the reason is, how much good does Ty France really do you once he's on first base? Now, look, chance to score more runs? Absolutely. I'd prefer people who get on base over not getting on base. But I prefer some guys who can drive the baseball, and I just don't see Ty France. Ty France had a couple of at-bats towards the end of the night tonight where pitches were just flat out down the middle, and he hit them as hard as he could. Didn't even get to the warning track. I'm not saying bench Ty France for these final 12 games or anything like that, but it is a reminder that the Mariners do not have first base settled. It does not have first base settled. The positives, and then I'll get into everybody's questions. And again, really appreciate you guys checking in. And I will say this a whole bunch of times tonight. Please hit the like button. Really appreciate hitting the like button. I'm going to assume everybody's already subscribed. Please hit the like button. Positives will go offensively, and there's no negatives pitching wise, by the way. Trent Thornton was a little shaky, but he gets the job done. And that's what Trent Thornton is. He's a little shaky. Thornton is actually Gaelic for a little shaky. Positives offensively, JP Crawford, my son, reaches 4 times, shows off that elite approach at the plate. It was always pretty good. Now it's elite. It is an elite approach. Eugenio, great to see him reach 4 times. To say that Eugenio Suarez was bad during that road trip, or excuse me, that homestand, might as well have been a road trip. Eugenio Suarez wasn't home. He was great tonight. He looked like he was recognizing pitches. He hit a couple of balls hard. Nice to see him rewarded with an RBI at the end of the game. He has to get going. He has to get going. Nice, by the way, also really nice that they can give Big Dumper a day off. Big Dumper looks tired. And then Jose Caballero. I think that was the first home run since the end of June. I think that's what Ryan Divish said. Now, Ryan Divish makes up stuff all the time, and you just can't trust him. He's not a good person. I'm just kidding. I love Ryan Divish very much. It's not necessarily reciprocated, but I do love Ryan Divish very much. Jose Caballero has been a very bad baseball player since really the start of the first half. Awesome to see him get going. It'd be awesome to see because I've talked about this a bunch, the Mariners want to be the Tampa Bay Rays. They want to be the platoon squad, in part because there is an advantage to it, and there is obviously, and in part because it can keep costs down really nicely. And they like to keep costs down. Whatever you say about the Mariners, they like to keep costs down. And that's one way to do it. So if guys like Dylan Moore and Jose Caballero can start hitting left-handed pitching, that's going to be big. And then the pitching. Look, do I think Bryan Woo pitched, according to my eye test, like somebody who threw 5 innings of scoreless baseball? Absolutely not. His command was bad. And now, I do want to point out, a couple of those walks, that high strike just wasn't there. I give credit to the umpire. I don't know who was behind the plate. I thought he was really strong. I thought he made a nice adjustment. The strike zone looked a lot better to end the game, and I will take that. I like seeing an umpire make adjustments because a lot of times they don't, and they're not very accountable for that stuff. It seems like he was accountable for that. But look, after the second inning, I thought Woo was really good. Command shaky, but the fastball was good. The velocity was mostly good. Showed a couple of decent changes. I was impressed with what I saw from Woo. It certainly helps that his 2 starts have come against. People will say that Bryan Woo has never made AAA starts. No, that's not true. He's made AAA starts the last two starts. And yes, Matthew, you're right. I misremembered. The second inning was really good. First inning was tough. And then a couple of walks in the middle innings as well. Third inning shaky. That's exactly right. Yeah. You can't expect me to hold myself accountable to remember everything that's happening, guys. Yeah. I think Woo pitched really well, and it certainly helped that he was facing a crappy team, a crappy team. But cannot complain about what you've gotten from Woo over these last 2 starts. Nice job by Cicetto. Nice job by Topa. I thought the usage of Topa was a little weird. I probably would have gone Thornton than Topa, but maybe they were kind of playing that, like, let's say something happens, some runs score, then you can go Brash, Munoz if you absolutely have to. So it makes sense, I guess, in that regard. But solid job by the bullpen. Just those 2 hits allowed. Not a lot of strikeouts, but some of that has to do with the fact that Oakland, after the 5th inning, was just so aggressive. So dang aggressive. Mariners threw 140 pitches, but 86 of those were from Woo in that first 5 innings. They only throw 54 after that. You'll take that. And it's nice not to use Brash. It's nice to not to use Munoz. Let's see some questions here. Again, we really appreciate everybody who turned out. And again, I need to remind you to hit that like button. Please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Winning is fun. We talked about service. Uh, Ty Friend, I don't want to call him an atrocious baseball player. I want to call him a very flawed baseball player, but I understand people are allowed to be upset with stuff. Thank you for coming, Trevor. I really appreciate it. A couple of people asked me on the old Twitter machine or whatever they call it now, if you would consider starting Canzone. Now, I'll say this. If I'm the Seattle Mariners and you don't make an upgrade at first base, and I will be upset if they don't. But if they don't, I'm making a platoon of Canzone and France at first base. Because I don't want Canzone in the outfield. And I do think his bat might be good enough someday to be a starting first baseman. Should Torrens get another start tomorrow so Cal can have another day off? What I would be tempted to do, Sam, and this is just me, I would be tempted to have Torrens start behind the plate and Big Dumper at DH because I want his bat in the lineup. I want him especially to start getting going again because he had a little bit of a tough series against the Dodgers. I do want his bat in the lineup. But that's what I would do. I would have Torrens start behind the plate at least one more time in this series and Big Dumper at DH. You want Big Dumper to play these next two games. The Bowman Wax Gods did take pretty. For those of you who missed it, I opened some live cards today and it went horribly. I actually did better than maybe I was saying. There was some. I was just hoping for a real big name, but in the middle of it, I just got to tell the story real quick. So I'm recording, I'm opening the cards, and I notice as I look up that my computer is starting to move in and move like that a little bit. I'm wondering what the heck is going on. My flippin' dog, God bless her, she's the best. She's 13 years old, got stuck in the microphone cord, literally stuck. And the only way that I could get her out was unplugging the thing. And then once you unplug it on YouTube, your audio source is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. So I had to restart the stream and then open more crappy cards. I deserved this Mariner win today. I really did deserve this Mariner win. Libra, I wish that they could have the closed caption live too. I really appreciate your support. I'm trying to look into something that's like a live type of thing. There are stuff I can't afford them at this point, but I'm looking into it for sure. And again, I really appreciate your support. Matthew, to say I didn't think he had 430 in him is the understatement of understatements. Now, it was a terrible pitch. It was a batting practice fastball. But holy crap on a cracker. He crushed that thing. Just absolutely mollywopped it. And it was great to see. And it had to feel really good for him, considering how much he struggled. Both on the bases, some of it in the field a little bit, not as much, but yeah, that had to feel really good. I would not be shocked if Ty France is elsewhere in 2024. I totally agree. I'm not rooting for it necessarily. I do think Ty France is a valuable bench player, but he also seems like a change of scenery guy at this point because it's not just this year that he's been bad, guys. He was very good in 2021. He was very good at the start of 2022. But in the second half on, this is now a year and a half of a guy who is not as young as people think. This is not a spring chicken. And he has a skill set. He has a skill set that doesn't age well. It would not shock me at all if he was moved. BP group pitches are hard to hit, according to Ty France as well. Lieber, thank you again for tuning in, and I hope that the closed captioning comes up real quick and you get a chance to see it. Yeah. Yep. Ty France is the difference between signing Shohei Ohtani or not. You let him go in a heartbeat. Oh, it's so big to get this win, especially after the luck that you get from, not luck, Baltimore's really flipping good, but the good fortune you get for Ryan Presley to blow a 2-run save in the ninth inning. Man, they needed that. We have had, August was a lot of fun, folks, but September's been such a crap show. We deserve this. We deserved some good fun today. I am going to promote this live stream real quick, guys, just on the old Twitter. Let's see here. Profile and the old retweet button. Sorry, this is not great radio or television or anything like that. Yeah, that's the thing, Rocco. Is like there's so little baseball left. There's a dozen games, and I think you probably got to win 9 of them to win the division, and I think you probably got to win 8 of them to make the postseason. I think 8-4 will get the job done, which is weird to say because I thought 90 wasn't going to be good enough, but it looks like 90 might be good enough. Thank you, Charlie. Really appreciate it. So appreciate the support that we've gotten. I've said it a billion times. That goal of hitting 1,000, I did not think was a realistic goal. I was thinking like 500, 600. Maybe next year we can make a little bit of money or something like that. No, we hit it. And it's thanks to people like you. Is this the final playoff roster, you think? That's a good question. I think Cade Marlowe makes the playoff roster because I think he makes more sense than Dominic Canzone if Dominic Canzone isn't playing. Although having Canzone as a weapon off the bench is a little interesting. But I would like some base running and the ability to go get some balls in the outfield. Defensive replacement type of thing. I think Marlowe makes sense. You could also go with Taylor Tram. And as Chad has pointed out a few times, the Jonathan Clase is an interesting call. It's an interesting call just because we have seen teams do it. Add that guy with 80 speed who can go get in the outfield is just a pinch runner type. It makes some sense. How big is giving Munoz and Brash a night off? I think it's huge. I think any game that you don't have to use Brash and Munoz, even if you lose the game, is kind of like a win. Because you have to keep those guys fresh, especially Brash. The amount of games he's pitched in for what is, for all intents and purposes, a rookie season, right? Like he certainly, was a helper last year. But this is his first full season of baseball. First full season of baseball, and he's been used in over 70 games. That's a lot, folks, especially in modern baseball. So anytime you give him a chance to get a rest, that is great. 2024 is Marlowe and Canzone season. What are your thoughts? I mean, one of them probably breakout type of thing. I could definitely see it. I'll tell you this, though. It would not shock me. Would not shock me one bit. Finger pointing, finger waving. It would not shock me one bit if Ryan Bliss is the breakout star of the Seattle Mariners in 2024. I just love the guy. We love our short kings. I'm somewhere between a short king and a normal height person. But I love watching the short guys, and man, he can hit the ball hard. He can play an excellent second base. He's capable of stealing bases. Wouldn't shock me at all. Yeah, I love Ryan Bliss. I really think he's going to have a chance to help that team. Yeah, Chad, Adam Oller is the fact he hasn't made his debut with the Mariners yet probably tells you that they're not big believers in it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him before the season ends. And if he pitches well before the season ends, I think that he's got a shot of being that multi-inning guy. Yeah. Kind of surprised that they didn't consider adding him for this series. So the Geno stuff, and we've talked about it a whole bunch. First of all, Geno's coming back next year. It's happening. The key is, and it should go without saying, but I guess it's maybe not. He just cannot be a middle of the order option for you next year. He's got to be that 7, 8, 9. Now he's not hitting 8th or 9th, or he's not hitting 9th. Probably not hitting 8. But he can't be a middle of the order guy for you. There's just been too much struggle this year. You need your middle of the order guys to be consistently good offensive players. I know this is a major reach, but do you have any thoughts that they may trade for Alonso? I don't think Alonso's actually going to be available. Would Dipoto explain it or explore it? You bet your sweet Bippy he would. Dipoto will explore anything trade-wise. Then he has his budgetary constraints that he won't admit to, but that's fine. You know, you talk bad about the boss, and you don't get to keep your job usually. But I don't think he's actually available. He's so popular in New York. I think that they view 2024 as a turnstile year, and I think that they will be much more. Yeah, I don't even think that would get it done, Chad. I think Alonso, you'd be talking about Woo in a top 2 or 3, and I still think somebody else would be willing to pay more just because, I mean, that power, man, that power. Chances France is a non-tender candidate. I don't think it'll come to that. But if they can't find a trade partner, you can't completely rule it out. Now, some of it's going to depend on how he finishes the year or how he does in the postseason or how much their advanced analytic people believe that Ty France is going to bounce back. Because the Mariners have some good people there. And as Chad points out, he is due for a massive raise, a significant raise anyway. So I can't rule it out. Anyone on another team been really exciting for you recently? Not the Dodgers. Dodgers weren't fun to watch at all. Been doing a lot of prospect watching lately. You know, it's just about that time, and watching Jackson Churio lately has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. I think he has a chance to be an absolute superstar. Fangraphs still gives the Astros a 75% chance of winning the division. The Mariners only 14% chance. Is that realistic? It sounds about right. Because you have to add, even though the Rangers are just, you still got to give them a chance. They're just as in it as the Mariners. They have the same record right now. Now, by run differential, the Mariners, I think, are probably a little better and playing better, certainly. I think that I would give the Mariners a 1-5 shot of winning the division. I'd give them a 1-5. Now, that could change real quick. If you give Seattle, if we can get this sweep, I'm going to go with we. If the Mariners can get this sweep and Baltimore can take 2 of 3 or maybe even sweep that series, it changes a lot. It changes a lot. Now, here's something I want to ask you guys. You're the Seattle Mariners, and let's say they don't win the division. Do you want to be the 6th seed or do you want to be the 5th seed? Which one do you want? Do you want to go play Minnesota? Or do you want to go play Tampa Bay? Which one sounds more appealing to you? Knowing that if you're the 6th seed, you're probably going to play Tampa Bay and Baltimore if you can get past Minnesota and Baltimore. Or do you want to play the Astros in the postseason? Minnesota, I'm not going to go guaranteed is probably too strong a term, but I would much rather play Minnesota myself. I will say I don't think Minnesota is that much worse than the Mariners. I don't think they are. Now, you look at the records and all that stuff, the Mariners are better. Minnesota kind of scares me. Tampa Bay, for whatever reason, doesn't. In Baltimore, I'm just not sure if I believe in that starting pitching that much. So ultimately, what I want them to do is win this gosh dang division. But which of the 3 first-round picks has impressed you the most? I'm not a fan of Farmelo's swings. Thoughts on his setup and hand placement? That's a really good question, Drew. Um, Colt Emerson by far, and for good reason. Ty Pete has the highest upside of those guys, but I think Colt Emerson has the best combination of ceiling and floor. He might have the best combination of ceiling and floor of any prospect in the system. All due respect to Cole Young. Farmelo's swing is not ideal. He's going to have elite bat speed in order for that to work, and he's going to be a guy who's probably going to have to make some adjustments. Question marks about how he's going to handle same-sided pitching, but the talent's there. It's definitely a long-term play. Both Pete and Farmelo are going to take some time. That's a really good question, though. But I got to go with Emerson. Emerson will be a top 2 or 3 prospect for me next year when we do the list stuff. And yeah, Tampa Bay just that series sucked. There's no question about it. But I just don't love that rotation. And the fact they're missing their best player. Let's see. Yeah. And as you guys point out, you guys are overwhelmingly going with playing with Minnesota, and I totally get it. Totally get it. It'll be really interesting to see, because let's say the Mariners lose 2 of 3 to the Astros and are looking real likely for that 5 seed. I'll be curious to see how they manage that stuff. I'll be real curious to see. Any big names you are looking to trade for this offseason? Nothing immediately comes to mind. There certainly will be some guys who are on the market. No, I don't think so. Like, nothing stands out immediately. I've always wanted the Mariners to trade for Bryan Reynolds. That's not going to happen now. Jonathan India, I know that's not a huge name, and his season has ended pretty crappily. I'd still like him to see him as a Seattle Mariner. That's another thing, Chad. I would love to play Tampa Bay in a 4-game series or a 7-game series compared to a 5-game series, and certainly compared to a 3-game series. It's a really good point. That's why they pay you the big bucks. Let's see. Do you think there's any chance St. Louis wants to move on from Goldie and Arenado? I don't know about end. I think that you can probably get one of those guys, and I would absolutely be all over looking into it. Because here's what I would say, too. I wouldn't hate the idea of a Eugenio Suarez as a first baseman. I don't hate it. Take some pressure off of his legs, make him a first baseman. I think he'd be excellent there. Still has pretty good range, soft hands. It does, take away a little bit of his strength with his arm strength. But if he wants to be a first baseman who hits 210 and swats 40 homers, go for it. And Nolan Arenado still, to me, is an elite offensive player. Goldschmidt makes sense, too. If they want to move on from him. I was kind of hoping Seattle would look a little more into that this offseason or in the summer. But Gleiber and Soto, I think, are the names to watch. Soto's going to be really interesting, especially if they're not able to get something done. In Seattle, if that can happen, Oh, you got to be all over it. There can be no untouchables outside of Julio Rodriguez in a trade for Juan Soto. Well, here's the thing, Chad. I've heard from multiple people now that the Angels have told Trout that if he wants to be dealt, it's okay. He has earned that right. So that's going to be really interesting. I don't know if they would do it in the division, though. Would you include Cal in a Soto trade? Because I don't think I would. I wouldn't include a heck of a lot more than him. But if somebody calls me up and says, hey, we'll take Juan Soto for Big Dumper and a Taylor Dollard. Yeah, I'm doing that. Juan Soto is such a special offensive player. And I still think that there's much more to come in terms of average, even if not the fact that you can get a 400, 550 guy. Imagine an offseason of somebody getting Soto and Ohtani, by the way. I don't think they're going to trade him, and that's a great point, though, Chad, that you're probably not going to be able to get both. Although Soto's not the worst outfielder. It's just hard budgetarily. Do I trade Montez for Soto? Yeah. And I love Lazaro. Love him. You could argue that he has the highest ceiling of any prospect in the system pretty easily. But yeah. That, to me, Lazaro Montez is the definition. And I'm not a big Family Guy fan, which may surprise people since I have a Peter Griffin look to me. But the boat's a boat, but a mystery box can be anything. It could even be a boat. That's what it is with Lazaro Montez. Like, hey, maybe someday he'll be as good as Juan Soto. See where I'm going here? So, yeah, I get it. By the way, my dog just farted. I don't know if anybody heard that, but that was disgusting. Lola, you're giving me a lot of trouble tonight. I love you, though. No idea if Boston move on from him, but I like the idea of Tanner Houck as a multi-inning reliever and depth starter if needed. Yeah, I like that call. I don't know if Boston has to move at Tanner Houck, but, in a move where a couple of people are, looking to match things for things, I think Tanner Houck makes some sense. Would really like to see Tanner Houck pitch well against Nathan Eovaldi. I'm looking at the pitching matchups right now. So you got Kikuchi versus Schmidt, and of course it just went out. And it looked like I saw Hunter Brown against Kyle Gibson. Oof. Brown's been shaky. Yeah. Well, I think we'll just go for a few more minutes here. Anything? Celestin, not your highest upside guy. Can't find much film on him. So Celestin would be probably the second for me. And if not for the fact that he gets hurt, he might be first. He's certainly the guy I'm chasing in cards. Was happy to get a first Bowman of him tonight. I have to tell you, I did much better than I thought after looking for some sales comps. And I'm not a big flipper. I flip some stuff, but it's mostly for collecting about me. It's just, that was a lot of money. I traded basically a Adley Rutschman SSP rookie card in order to get those two boxes. And if you ask me which one I'd rather have, this collection of cards or the Adley Rutschman SSP, I'd take the SSP. Again, guys, we'll go for a few more minutes, but please hit like if you haven't yet. I see 31 of you watching here, and I'm holding you accountable. Please just hit that little thumbs up button. It helps me so much. It makes me feel better about myself when I see that thumbs up button go up as well. It's just a really helpful thing, so I really appreciate it. So yeah, we've got a dozen baseball games left. And you are tied for a playoff spot. You are a game and a half out of the division lead. I mean, I didn't think we'd get here, and the fact we're here with how bad September has gone is just blessing. May seem like a weird word for it, but it kind of is, right? Like, if I told you yesterday, if I told you in June that this is what was going to happen, you sign up for it every time, right? Every time. Man, I'm so excited for this. Favorite 2023 hobby box to rip? That's a great question. Uh, I love, and I know a lot of people think it's gimmicky. I love Cosmic Chrome. I just adore those cards. I think they look awesome. I think the fact that they're mostly pretty short printed is really cool as well. I think they're really neat. I think neat. There you go. 40 years old going on 65. That's my favorite. I love Bowman. I love like the higher end stuff. A lot of years. I will say this: Topps Gilded. It's not out yet, but oh, Topps Gilded is so great. I had so much fun spending way too much money ripping a couple of boxes of Topps Gilded. Oh, triple threads and tier one are awesome too. Triple threads, unfortunately, because so much sticker auto now has really gone downhill. 5-star baseball, another one of my favorites. A lot of on card stuff, mostly on card. Love those gold ink autos. That's a really good one. I well, every year, and I don't think I'll get to do it this year because I just am not making the same kind of money I was when I was at NBC. Just being honest with you. Every year I would do a random division break of Topps Definitive with like a full case, and that's like 4 boxes or something like that. I love Topps Definitive. I love it. And for those who don't know what we're talking about with sticker autos, so like I'll just show you right now. I haven't had a chance to put it away yet. So this is Dylan O'Ray. This is one of the autos we hit today, right? You see how that's signed on card. Whereas, do I have a sticker auto here? Yeah, I do. Because I have the second Matt Brash. I have both of the Seattle Mariner logos, 5 out of 10. One of them got mailed to my buddy. Nope, that's on card as well. Anyway, some of them have this sticker thing. It's stupid. It's just dumb. Yeah, pricey but fun is kind of the definition of cards. Yeah. That is kind of the definition of cards. Well, this was fun, and it was a lot of fun to do after a win, right? Like we've had to just shake our head for 20 minutes. I like O'Ray. I wish there was power. And for those of you who aren't familiar with card stuff, guys who hit for a high average don't sell a ton. Pitchers do not sell at all. You're looking for those big power master type guys. That is not Dylan O'Ray, but he's a good hitter. And I think he's got a high floor as a major league player. So, yeah. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you again, everybody who came out. If you don't mind hitting the like button before you leave, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, we'll go live again tomorrow night. Real quick, I want to look at the pitching matchup for the Mariners because honestly, I kind of forgot what it is. Advantage Mariners, no matter what I'm about to see. It is physically impossible for it not to be advantage Mariners. We'll see. Luis Castillo versus Paul Blackburn. Paul Blackburn is the one starter for Oakland that is decent. But yeah, Luis Castillo is going to shove. I have a lot of confidence in that. Thanks again. Please follow me on all those websites. Tell your friends. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Really appreciate it. Great to see a Mariner win. And hopefully we get to do this again on a positive note again tomorrow. Night, everybody.